Hey everybody. Um, just wanted to give an update and talk about some stuff. I see I still have 5 followers. I'm probably all 5 of them. But uh, I'm not looking the best today. I haven't shaven in a while and I'm wearing glasses instead of contacts, but you can get over it. I recently went into a coma in January. My lungs failed. They took me off of the ventilator because I was medically induced. And when they took me off the ventilator, I still didn't breathe on my own. So they put me back on, took me off a second time a few days later, still didn't breathe on my own. And they told my family I had 24 hours to live, if that, and it was time to say goodbye. They were going to take me off of life support the third time they took me off the ventilator. The third time they took me off, somehow my body kicked ass and I started gasping for breath. 7 days later, not 7 days later, I was discharged a month later. And 7 days after I was discharged, I ran 7 miles. My lungs still aren't perfect, but I'd trade in less than perfect. I would not trade in less than perfect lungs over death. But here's the other thing. I'm not going to be talking about Disney too much. I'm switching this over to just general life and actually cooking. I moved out of Florida. I left my PhD program because I was not happy in it. And I applied to and got accepted to probably the best, well, I'm going to be biased, the best culinary school in the world. I like cooking. So it was between cooking and flying because I've flown single prop Cessnas in the past. But the CIA gave me, Culinary Institute gave me way too much money in grants and scholarships to pass up. So now I live in New York. I would not ever suggest coming to, living in, or thinking of New York. I do not like it here. But I'm getting a good education. It's gonna open a lot of doors for me. I'm not real happy. I'm gonna bring up Disney for a second. I'm not real happy with Disney. They're increasing prices. They're not giving the product that they used to give, and you can't degrade your product without not increasing prices. I don't necessarily mean they had a decrease, but increasing prices with giving it an inferior product compared to what you used to offer, it's just not right. So now that I'm not in Florida, don't have annual passes anymore. Not sure if I'll ever go back to Disney, even though I have a ton of rewards from my Disney card, my Chase Disney card. Maybe I'll go back at some point to have dinner at one of the resort restaurants, which you don't need park tickets for, obviously, with my wife. But for right now, I'm giving them a chance to right their wrongs, which me giving them a chance means nothing. And I don't think they're going to right their wrongs. So let's move on to food. Again, I said I like cooking. And my favorite thing to cook is chicken piccata. I came up with after using stock recipes, in other words, off the internet, I came up with my own. And I found that my own is so much better than what the original recipe is in some places. You use fresh lemon sliced very thinly. You use bottled lemon juice, eggs, breadcrumbs, preferably panko breadcrumbs, and very thinly sliced chicken breast. And what you do is you slice the chicken breast yourself. You dredge it in flour, beaten eggs, and then you put the breadcrumbs on. You roll it, not roll, but you place it on the breadcrumbs, make sure it's very coated. You use olive oil, take it up to a high temperature, and you sear the hell out of the chicken. You don't necessarily, if you slice the chicken thin enough, depending on whether you like thin or, I'm on my lap right now, so that's why I'm bouncing. You cook it if it's thin and sear it off. It's not called seared, that's beef. You brown it. You get it to a golden brown. If it's thin, it should be cooked perfectly. If you prefer thinner, then you need to take it off after it's browned, because it won't be fully cooked. But there's another step that will get it fully cooked. At that point, you deglaze the pan on very high heat with chicken stock. That'll get all the flavors of the stuff from the chicken that's stuck to the bottom of the pan. Then you add, Then you add lemon juice from a bottle, pre-made lemon juice. You add cloves of garlic, smashed up, minced, and finely diced onions. That's going to make your piccata sauce. So then you let it reduce down. Once it's reduced down, you add artichoke hearts, canned artichoke hearts. Then you add the chicken back in. And once the chicken's been sitting there and the sauce becomes a glazed consistency, you flip it, you make sure the chicken is good, take the chicken out, take the artichokes out. Then you have to add more stock, more lemon juice, and you boil. You can choose linguine or angel hair. I prefer, for this dish, I would say I prefer linguine, but I think angel hair is more appropriate. So you let that reduce down, you boil your pasta. Once it's reduced down a little bit, not a lot, because the pasta is going to soak the hell out of it, you put the pasta in. Then you let the pasta soak it up, and then you take it, put it into a bowl, or depending on how many people you're cooking for, maybe 2 plates. You may not need a bowl. You put the pasta down. You put the artichoke hearts on. You put the chicken on top. Then you put some parsley on. Freshly chopped would be good, but you could always use dried parsley. And finally, you put whatever sauce is remaining, you put the finely sliced lemons, into the sauce, and you cook them down until there's what's called starfish. That means they shrivel up just a little bit, so that when you take them out, the rinds are still intact, but the pulp shrivels and it looks like a star. So you put 2 or 3 of those on, and then you're done. So that's my thing on food. And I think this is the longest video I've ever made. I, I guess I'm going to end it there, possibly, unless I can think of anything better to say. But um, yeah, I don't want to get too. I don't want to get political. I don't want to get too serious. I want to get serious on occasion. But yeah, I live in New York now, and I don't like what Disney's doing, and I do like to cook. So I start a new job tomorrow as sous chef at a restaurant in Poughkeepsie, and yeah, things are going well. Glad to be out of the coma, glad to be alive, and I'm gonna end it there. So I don't like looking down and away from the camera because I feel it's rude, but I have to find a way to stop this. Have a good rest of your Sunday, and have a good week. Be safe, be well, avoid COVID, and I'll be posting more. I'll see you.